Hello, welcome back to another top whatever. Basically, this one is going to be a top 35 favorite series from the all new, all different Marvel now. The reason why 35 because there's a ton of really good titles that they put out. So I decided to do a top 35, and plus I got a lot of series on the list. That's why 35. But before I get to now, this will be part one of 3 videos. This one I will cover numbers 35 through 20 to start off with. Part 2 will cover, actually, it will stop at 21. Part 2 will cover 20 to 11, and then Part 3 will cover the top 10. First, before we get numbers 35 to 21, I have some honor mentions. First of which is Old Man Logan 2. It's one issue in. I don't want to put it on the list because the series just came out last week, and I gotta hand it to Jeff Lemire. This was actually really good. I do recommend it. It's really interesting to read. Another one is Karnak. Now, despite the fact this series has been out for a while, the problem is basically only one issue has been released so far because Marvel has sat on this series for months. I mean, the second issue was supposed to come out this past November. That was 3 months ago. This book has been delayed for 4 months. Hopefully, the series will resume fine. But that's the only negative complaint about the series. But the first issue was really good. Warren Ellis basically wrote the Karnak character to be a really interesting character, and plus you have Phil Coulson and Gemma Simmons from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series to do it, be guest stars. Another one, this one actually has been out for a little while. I couldn't find a room on my list for it, but Ultimates Volume 4. This one's only about 3 issues in. It's actually pretty interesting. The first couple issues, they actually solve. They actually have Galactus stop being a devourer. He's actually the savior now. Yeah, he devours the home world, his place of his birth, and he's no longer eating planets. It only took Marvel 50 years to do this. So, yeah. Alright. The next one is this most recent volume of Silver Surfer, which I think is Volume 8, despite the fact Wikipedia and Wicca refer to it as Volume 9. It's one issue in. I enjoyed it. But give or take, basically, if you like the previous volume of Silver Surfer, you'll love this one. Definitely. I also recommend basically anybody who likes iZombie because I think the character John is actually based upon the character Mike Aldridge helped create in the iZombie comic book. Alright? The last one, and this one also came out last week, Spider-Man #1. Well, this is Volume 2 anyway. It's one with Miles Morales. It's one issue in. It's okay. The issue itself was written really well by Brian Michael Bendis. And the artwork is really good. It's just that, why in the world, out of all villains for Miles to fight first, he chooses Blackheart, a Ghost Rider villain? Couldn't he have fight one of the other Spider-Man villains? Like, I don't know, maybe fight one of the Enforcers again if there's any left. I know one is dead and the other one's in jail. But give or take, yeah, this is actually a really good start. Now, for numbers 35 through 21. Alright? The first one, and this is actually, this might be a little bit surprised. Why is this one down so low? And this is Daredevil, Volume 5 by Charles Shaw. Mainly the reason why is because I've heard a bit of a mixed reaction to this one. And this one's, and it's a pretty decent series. I do enjoy it. Charles Shaw writes the character so well. And I know for some people they actually didn't like this take because they liked Mark Waid's take on Daredevil more than Charles Shaw. But I enjoy it. And definitely, I do recommend this series. Just give or take, and plus is in the same. It has a similar tone to that of the Daredevil Netflix series. And the costume is very heavily inspired by the Netflix series because it's black. Though this is not the first time the costume has been black. The last time it was black was during the event Shadowland, which I've heard nobody talk about. It's one of those events nobody wants to talk about. No one say if it's good or bad. This along with Chaos War. Yep. Alright, number 34 is Web Warriors. This one's a tad. Some people might think that this is a bit. Some people were probably not interested in this series because they were still suffering through fatigue of the Spider-Verse stuff, but it's a pretty enjoyable tale, and I gotta hand it to Marvel for giving an ongoing series to a group of alternate Spider-Man. Basically, you can kind of see this as maybe an attempt to do similar to that of a Captain Britain Corps series, because Captain Britain Corps is basically it's a group of alternate versions of Captain Britain. That's simply what it is. And Web Warriors is simply the same thing. A group of alternate versions of the same character. Well, not the same person under the mask, per se, but of the same character. They do have people like Arena, the Hispanic woman who's 6'6" Spider Girl. Mayday Parker shows up in the book, and Electro. There's even alternate versions of Electro shows up, which is really cool. But they don't have the 616 Electro for some reason. Yeah. Alright. Number 33 is Weird World. This one is one of those series Marvel is trying to push. Okay? Despite the fact when it came out sequel, people were like, what the heck is Weird World? And is this the first time it's shown up? Actually, no. It was actually created back in the late 70s. And was put into a series of books that, it was basically anthology books. It had pretty much nothing to do with the current ongoing series at all. It just set on Weird World. It's a pretty interesting series, and you can kind of see it as a continuation of the Secret War series, give or take. Number 32, Carnage. Yes, the Carnage ongoing series written by the awesome Gary Conway. If you like horror, if you like comic books deal with horror and not much for heroes, this is a series for you. I gotta hand it to Gary Conway. Basically, he writes the character Carnage to be really interesting, and the fact he brings in John Jameson. Heck, he becomes Man-Wolf in this series, and there's even Eddie Brock, and he's Toxin. Though, I do kind of agree with some people, I do not like the redesign for Toxin. It looks just too weird. Alright. Number 31 is Drax. Now, this is a series that is basically done by both Colin Bunn and former WWE wrestler CM Punk. This is an awesome title, and plus, in issue 2, you have Tarak Tatema show up, and I believe he's a creation of Steve Eichelhart, I believe it is. He first showed up in that storyline. I think it's like the Search for Galactus storyline that came back in the 80s. Really awesome story where the Sphinx is the main villain, and Galactus basically sort of after to take him on. But the deal was basically that the Fantastic Four had to find a new herald, and Tarak Tatema was one of them. And he's more of a peaceful guy, and he does remember getting killed off. Now, it's explained that the reason why he came back because the Phoenix Force resurrected after they already killed him. But it's 3 issues in. It's a really good series. It's really standalone-ish. This has really not much to do with anything else. Okay, number 30 is Illuminati. A series all about villains. Yes, led by the Hood, along with people like the Enchantress, Titania, think like the Mad Thinker, a rebuilt Black Ant from the Secret Avengers series. And I believe his name was Pyodriver from the Wrecking Crew. This you can kind of see as Marvel's attempt to basically do so, kind of like an anti-villain group series. But I gotta hand it to the writer. He writes the characters to be really interesting. And I know that this is not a series for everybody, but I do count this series as part of the Avengers line of books. Because look at the covers, it has the A on it. But even though it's all about villains, I still enjoy it. Alright. Number 29. And this is actually a tie between Red Wolf and Doctor Strange. Now, this particular title, I want to talk about this title for a little bit before I talk a little bit more, and I want to talk about Doctor Strange. You see, there is a... some people are actually calling to get this title canceled. Why? There's no reason to get this title canceled. I mean, why in the world do you even want to get this title canceled? I mean, it's not a terrible title. Oh, no, it isn't. It's a really awesome title. And this is one title I think should be left alone. Okay, this is Marvel's first attempt at having a Red Wolf ongoing series since the 70s. And that series lasted for 9 issues. And this one, I believe, is only 2 issues in right now. But it's run on really well by Nathaniel Emerson. I gotta hand it to Marvel for putting him on. I think that either he came up with the idea of going out to Werewolf, or was Marvel's idea. So I find out about that basically because Red Wolf is an awesome title. I mean, Nathaniel Emerson brought people to have people read The Punisher, and yet people don't like Red Wolf. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this title. It's got great artwork, great writing. How can anybody not? And plus, I'm sure that people who are of Native American descent would actually like a Native American character rated in a positive light. He's not stereotyped at all, and it's still a really good title, and I highly recommend it. The other course is Doctor Strange, which is also in the same category. Doctor Strange is written by the awesome Jason Aaron, who's also writing another tab, which I'm going to get to. The artwork is done by Chris Bachalo. The book is only 4 issues in, and soon, I believe in April, it's going to get its own one-shot called Doctor Strange: Last Days of Magic, which is part of the... It's kind of like an expansion of the actual storyline that's going in the actual comic. And giving a comic to Doctor Frickin' Strange, this was by far a brilliant stroke of genius. And interesting fact, this is the first time since the mid-90s that Doctor Strange has had an ongoing series, because what has he done the past 20 years before showing up having an ongoing series? Basically been guest star in other books, having a few miniseries, been appearing in New Avengers, and now he's got an ongoing series. And it's really good. It's 4 issues in, and that's a really good title. Alright. Number 28 is Silk. Silk, I know for a fact people didn't originally like the character when she was first created in Amazing Spider-Man, but her ongoing title is awesome. Robbie Thompson does a fantastic job writing the character, and it's interesting that her main villain is Black Cat. So, it's still a really good series. I mean, it's nearly 10 issues in, and it's really good. Actually, I think it is exactly 10 issues, more like 11 issues, because Marvel decided to end the first volume after only 7 issues. I love for that anyways. Alright. Number 27 is a really good title to recommend. Anybody who is fans of the classic Spider-Man, they would love this series. Also, another title written by Robbie Thompson. This is actually one of 3 titles he's writing right now, and the third one is actually a bit higher on this list. But I'll get to it when I get to it. I mean, the first villain that he's fighting in the series so far is the Lizard, and the series is really good. Gwen Stacy is actually quite different than she's normally depicted. I mean, she actually is standing up for Peter when he's not Spider-Man. Of course, she does not know that he is Spider-Man. And also, I've heard a rumor that Mary Jane Watson might show up in this series. That should be interesting. I mean, it's not like it's not a reprint series. It's completely original, and it's basically Spider-Man's early years told in modern day. Yeah. All right. Number 26, and this will probably be a surprise. People will actually see this on my list. Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat, a book that's only 2 issues in, and it's actually a really good series. Plus, you have characters like She-Hulk and Valkyrie show up in the book, which is really good. Like in the most recent issue that came out, Melly the model, not Melly, Hetty, who was an old rival of hers from when she was a character in romance comics, shows up in the most recent issue. So you can kind of say that the romance comics that Patsy Walker had in the 50s and 60s are in fact canon with the Marvel comic universe. As a matter of fact, the romance stuff is brought up frequently. And the one thing I'm really hoping this title will do is to have her 2 ex-husbands show in the book. And who were ex-husbands? A character called Mad Dog, whose real name was Buzz. He was a colonel in the Air Force who was experimented by the Brand Corporation. He'd be interesting to show up in the series. Another character who's also an ex-husband of hers is Damien Hellstrom, also known as Son of Satan. I think these two will show. I have more of a problem. Damien Hellstrom has more possibility to show up in this series than Mad Dog. I mean, if you ask anybody like who's Mad Dog, they probably have no idea what you're talking about. Hellstrom, they probably have a kind of an idea who he is, probably because they show up in pages of New Avengers during majority of the Bendis' run for the book. But yeah, really awesome title, and I love the fact that the writer is having She-Hulk as a supporting character in the book. Well, mainly because She-Hulk can have her own ongoing series. I don't know why. Next, of course, and this will make everybody happy that I actually made my list, Spider-Gwen. Yes, Spider-Gwen. By James Latour. This title is really good. This title is pretty much almost exactly 10 issues in, despite being relaunched at issue 5, and it's a really enjoyable title. And if you don't like the artwork is it's pretty much the same creative team when the book got relaunched. And this book had no reason to get relaunched back to #1. No reason. I believe the sales are doing fine. And plus, there's a huge fan base for the character, so I do recommend it. Even if you never read Spider-Gwen, what I recommend first is read the trade that collects the first 5 issues of the series. Then pick up this book. And this book is only this volume is only about 4 issues in, and this title is not going to be too hard to catch up on because it's not that far in, and it only started just last year. And yes, I recommend it. Okay, number 24 is Captain Marvel Volume 9. Now, this book is done by the creators of the people behind Agent Carter, which I got handed to Marvel for putting these two on the book because Kelly Sue Hanukkah left the book. Now, I think the reason why she left the book because she was getting tired of having the book just basically not sell very well, and the fact that she probably had enough at the writing book for 3 years. Yeah, she ran this book for 3 years. I mean, her run started when the first issue came out in mid-2012. She ended her run with the Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps miniseries. Really good. I highly recommend it. And do you know what this volume has in common with the previous volume? James Rhodes shows up in the opening issue, and basically sees Carol off. And I would love to see this character more in the series, even though he's appearing currently in another title. But it's 3 issues in, and it's 2 issues in. But it's really good, and I love the fact that the actual Alpha Flight characters that Chris Claremont created back in the late 70s are actually in the series. But the only characters from Alpha Flight are in the book is Sasquatch, Puck, and Amora, who's the twin sister of Northstar. And it's got great artwork too. You also gotta love the covers. I mean, they look like stuff that you would see for movie posters back in the 40s, which is probably the reason why that the book. I mean, the only reason why I think it's like that because the writers write Agent Carter. Yes. All right. There's about 3 more to go, and we're done with this video. Okay. Next up is Awesome Hulk. Now this one is done by Greg Pak. I got handed to Greg Pak. I thought I was not going to like this series because they replaced Bruce Banner with Amadeus Cho. But it's still really good, and it's 3 issues in. And heck, they even do sort of a character that looks very similar to the Hulk's daughter, Lidra, who's actually white-skinned. And I almost have a funny feeling that she has a thing for both Amadeus Cho and Amadeus Cho's sister, which I never knew he had a sister. And I got handed to the artist. He made his sister look hot. I mean, she's a nerd, but she's hot. And it's still a great title. Definitely. And that's a recommendation of mine. Okay, now next up is 2 books, one of whom is definitely part of the Avengers line of books, and I consider part of the line of books. Okay, first up is the Candy Avengers. This is volume 3 of the series. It is 5 issues in, and I'm enjoying it. I really am. I mean, Gary Duggan has survived the series and made the series much better than what Rick Remender. No offense, Rick Remender. He's an awesome writer. But I know for a lot of people, they didn't like the Candy Avengers book before when he was in the book. But you got handed to Rick Remender. He put this team together. And here's the thing. In this one, there's only one person who actually stayed with the group the entire time, who's been in the book since the original issue back in 2012, and that's Rogue. She's the only person who stayed. Everyone else has left. Though Steve Rogers says himself has come back, I mean, they sort of expanded the roster. I mean, they added, for some reason, Sam Wilson left the team and Sabretooth. Well, we'll explain later. Sabretooth went to Kenny X-Men, and Sam went to the on a different title. But it's definitely a good title, and in the most recent issue, they had the Red Skull come back. And Sin. Though, this is something a bit odd, though, because last I saw Sin, she looked like her father. You know, the red head thing. Yeah. I'm like, how the heck did she reverse that and look like how she was during Mark Greenwald's run on Captain America? I'm a bit confused about that, but they also had Gambit guest star in the issue, but still an awesome issue. Heck, Cable's part of the team. Deadpool wasn't necessarily part of the most recent issue, but I think for some people they initially picked the book for Spider-Man appearing in the book and the fact that Deadpool appears in the book. Probably more for Deadpool than Spider-Man. I'm sure for a lot of people they probably dropped the book after issue 1 because Spider-Man left the book, but an awesome series. The other is Squad Female. This one is a high recommendation because it's done by the creative team of the most recent Fantastic Four run, the one that ended last year. James Robinson and Leonard Kirk. Fantastic job. The book is like 4 issues in the opening issue, and this was actually leaked. I am not sure how this remained a secret for how people forgot about this. Namor dies in the opening issue of the series, of this volume, and I mean the group is basically the Squadron Supreme traditionally is, and they're led by they're basically led by Hyperion, the version that Jonathan Hickman created. You also have Nighthawk from JMS's the JMS version. You also have Dr. Spectrum, the version that is used in the book, that is also a Jonathan Hickman creation. Power Princess, who I think is from the original Squadron Supreme universe. I don't remember who else on the team, but this team has got a great lineup. You gotta love it. And you also gotta love the fact that Hyperion and Nighthawk are getting their own solo titles. Hyperion, his book is being written by the guy who wrote Star Wars Aftermath, a book that not a lot of people like very much. But the Nighthawk title, and it's set in Chicago, is written by David Walker. But the book has not come out. His book is not out yet. But Squadron Supreme is still an awesome book. And the last for this video is the current volume for Spider-Woman. Yes, Spider-Woman. And it's still the same creative team. Not Greg Land. It's the replacement artist. And the book is 3 issues in. And at the end of the most recent issue, this is not exactly a very big spoiler, but at the end of the 3rd issue, she goes to labor. Yes, after being pregnant for 3 issues, she's finally giving birth to the baby. Though the question on everybody's mind is, who is the father? Yes, who is the father? I'm hoping eventually, before the book hits issue 10, that we finally figure that out. Okay? Alright. That's it for this first part of 3 parts for my top 35 favorite all new, all different series. Alright, stay tuned for part 2 as I count down numbers 20 through 11. Till then, see you there. Bye.